The journey of self-knowledge, the journey toward self-knowledge, is one of the deepest and most challenging paths we can embark on. When we look into the mirror of the soul, we see multiple reflections. There is what we recognize, what we accept, but also what we try to hide. This other side of our personality, the one we so often avoid, was named the shadow by Carl Jung. And within it lies an unsuspected power, waiting to be revealed. For Jung, confronting the shadow is not just an act of courage, but the key to unlocking life's true purpose. When we allow ourselves to face what we have repressed, no matter how uncomfortable, it opens the door to a journey of individuation, transformation, and freedom. What is the shadow? In his theory, Jung describes the shadow as the part of the psyche that holds traits, emotions, thoughts, and desires that we deem undesirable or unacceptable. These are aspects of ourselves that society, education, or even our own beliefs have taught us to suppress or reject. Throughout life, we shape our identity according to what is socially accepted, repressing everything that might be perceived as negative or imperfect. Feelings like anger, envy, selfishness, or fear are often labeled as weaknesses, unworthy of someone striving to be morally good. However, these emotions and tendencies do not simply disappear. Instead, they become buried deep within us, continuing to influence our behavior in ways we may not even realize. When we fail to recognize our shadow, it becomes an unconscious force working behind the scenes of our lives. It manifests in small choices, in disproportionate reactions, or in unexpected emotions that seem to arise without explanation. The shadow is always in motion within us, subtly shaping our behavior, sometimes even in self-destructive ways. For example, when we refuse to acknowledge our frustration, it may surface as sudden irritation or impulsive actions. When we ignore our need for rest, it can erupt into deep exhaustion. These are all expressions of the shadow at work, the power of the shadow in the individuation process. Despite its mysterious and often uncomfortable nature, the shadow holds immense potential for transformation. Jung saw confronting the shadow as an essential step in the process of individuation, the journey toward our true self, where we integrate and balance both the conscious and unconscious parts of our psyche. Embracing our shadow does not mean accepting weakness or flaws passively. Rather, it means recognizing that within these hidden aspects, we can also uncover hidden strengths, talents, and renewed energy. The first step in this process is awareness. As we begin to recognize and accept the darker parts of our personality, we initiate transformation. This can be done in many ways: through introspection, psychotherapy, or even artistic and meditative practices. The key is that by bringing the shadow into the light of consciousness, we reduce its unconscious power over us. Instead of reacting unconsciously to suppressed fears and desires, we start making more authentic and intentional choices. Rather than being controlled by what we have yet to integrate, we gain the freedom to act with greater clarity and self-awareness. The emotional impact of the shadow. Recognizing the shadow is undoubtedly a difficult process. Facing our hidden aspects means confronting what is most vulnerable and raw within us. Feelings of shame, fear, or guilt may arise, and it's easy to get lost in this emotional turmoil. However, Jung teaches that it is precisely through this confrontation with pain that we find true liberation. When we embrace our uncomfortable emotions, we have the power to transform them into something new and positive. Fear can be converted into courage, anger into motivation for necessary change, and self-doubt into self-awareness. Every small victory in this journey of self-discovery has a profound impact. By recognizing our shadow, we not only gain a deeper understanding of ourselves, but also improve our relationships. We stop projecting our own fears and flaws onto others, becoming more empathetic and authentic in the process. When integrated, the shadow transforms the way we see ourselves and, in turn, the way we see the world. Transition to the next step, projection and transformation. But the journey does not end with simply becoming aware of the shadow. Once we bring it to the surface, Jung warns us about the phenomenon of projection. When we are unable to integrate certain aspects of ourselves, we tend to project them onto the external world, onto other people. This happens when we see in others traits that, in reality, belong to us, but that we refuse to acknowledge or accept. Projection can lead to conflict, destructive relationships, and distortions of reality. However, true transformation begins when we start recognizing our projections and understanding what they reveal about us. By doing so, we can reshape our relationship with the external world and those around us. Personal transformation is not just about healing wounds or overcoming trauma. It is also about evolving into a state of greater awareness and authenticity. Now, in the next step of this journey, we will explore in depth how projections occur and how, by working through these distortions, we can unlock the transformative power of the shadow. Jung's path of self-discovery is a continuous process, where each revelation brings us closer to a fuller, more integrated version of who we truly are. Individuation and the challenge of the shadow. According to Carl Jung, the process of individuation is a lifelong journey of integrating the conscious and unconscious parts of the psyche. One of the greatest challenges along this path is confronting our shadow, the hidden part of ourselves that holds our rejected and repressed traits. It is a reflection of our flaws, fears, and denied desires. However, it is precisely through facing this inner darkness that we unlock our greatest potential for personal growth and transformation, mythological heroism, and the journey through the shadow. Jung not only observed this psychological process in individuals, but also made a deep connection between it and mythological hero stories. These narratives symbolize the inner struggle against the shadow through external challenges. A classic example is the journey of Hercules in Greek mythology. As he faces the 12 labors, Hercules is not just battling external monsters, he is confronting the darker aspects of his own psyche. Each challenge represents a facet of the shadow, from slaying the Lernaean Hydra to taming the man-eating horses of Diomedes. Each trial reflects the process of confronting and integrating the rejected or feared aspects of the self. Similarly, our own journey of self-discovery follows the same pattern. The inner hero must inevitably confront their own inner demons to attain self-knowledge and true freedom. This is the essence of individuation. Through each battle with our shadow, we transform weaknesses into strengths. Thus, mythological narratives are not just distant stories, they are symbolic representations of our internal struggles. Like heroes, we are invited to recognize that our greatest enemy is not external, but within us, the shadow as a guide. Emotions, reactions, and dreams as we navigate the individuation process. The shadow does not only manifest through our actions or the traits we try to suppress. It also communicates with us in subtler ways through emotions, reactions, and even dreams. At this stage, the shadow begins to act as a silent guide, revealing aspects of our psyche that need to be acknowledged and integrated. Emotions are one of the clearest ways the shadow speaks to us. Feelings such as anger, frustration, or envy often indicate something hidden and repressed. Whenever we experience an emotion intensely, whether positive or negative, it carries a hidden message. By analyzing these emotions and questioning their origins, we can uncover aspects of our psyche that have not yet been accepted or understood. Reactions, especially disproportionate ones, are another clue. Often, we react automatically, but these reactions can reveal a lot about what remains unresolved within us. A simple comment from someone, which on another day might seem insignificant, can suddenly trigger intense anger or sadness. This kind of reaction is often a sign that we are projecting our own shadow onto the outside world. The shadow feeds off these unrecognized emotions, reinforcing our internal conflicts. However, once we become aware of these projections and reactions, we take an essential step toward reclaiming control over our lives. By understanding and integrating the shadow, we free ourselves from unconscious patterns and open the door to a more authentic, conscious existence. Dreams, the shadow's direct language for Jung. Dreams are the most direct language of the unconscious. They offer a symbolic vision of what needs to be integrated into the psyche. In our dreams, we often encounter monstrous creatures or challenging situations, representations of the shadowy aspects of our inner world. By analyzing these dreams and reflecting on their meaning, we can begin to unravel the messages that the shadow holds for us. Projection, the shadow in the external world. One of the most powerful dynamics Jung uncovered about the shadow is the concept of projection. When we fail to integrate certain aspects of our psyche, these aspects tend to be projected onto the external world, especially onto the people around us. What does this mean? Simply put, the parts of ourselves that we reject, our flaws, fears, and hidden traits, are often perceived in the behaviors and attitudes of others. This manifests in various ways. For example, when we feel intense anger towards someone, we may not be reacting solely to what they have done. Instead, we might be projecting onto them a trait that we refuse to acknowledge in ourselves. The anger, in this case, may be a reflection of something within our own psyche that remains unrecognized, but that we easily identify in someone else. The same applies to excessive admiration or idealization. When we project our unacknowledged desires or ideals onto another person, we may start to idolize them, hoping they will fill an internal void we are unable to face. The key, then, is to become aware of these projections and start questioning, what am I seeing in this person that actually belongs to me? This kind of self-inquiry can be a powerful tool for self-awareness and shadow integration. When we stop projecting onto the world the parts of ourselves that we do not accept, we begin to see others more clearly, and, more importantly, we begin to understand ourselves better. Self-knowledge and the awakening of true purpose. The impact of this self-discovery, integrating the shadow and dealing with projections, can be profound. When we acknowledge our own darkness, we free ourselves from many of the unconscious forces that shape our lives. We are no longer held hostage by our fears, frustrations, or automatic reactions. Instead, we gain the ability to live more authentically, more freely, and more in alignment with our true purpose. Moreover, as we work through our projections, we develop greater empathy and understanding toward others. Relationships, often marked by conflict and misunderstanding, begin to transform because we stop seeing others as mere reflections of our own unresolved issues. This shift creates space for deeper and more authentic connections, both with the world around us and within ourselves. This journey of transformation, while challenging, is the gateway to a fuller and more meaningful life. By embracing the shadow, we not only transform our fears into strengths, but also gain access to the deeper purpose of our existence. The shadow leads us to a path of self-knowledge, where true freedom and authenticity await. The collective impact of shadow integration, that we have a deeper understanding of the shadow. Let's take it a step further. How does this transformation extend beyond the individual? Throughout the journey of individuation, integrating the shadow is not just a personal process. It has a profound impact on the collective and on humanity as a whole. When each individual confronts and integrates their personal shadow, they liberate themselves from the unconscious chains that bind them. But beyond personal growth, this also contributes to a broader transformation in society. This is an often overlooked aspect of Jungian psychology, the ripple effect of individual transformation on the social and collective fabric. Now, let's explore how the integration of personal shadows can lead to deep and lasting change in the world around us. Imagine for a moment the power each of us holds when we integrate our shadow aspects. Every time a person commits to confronting their shadows, their fears, insecurities, and the rejected aspects of their psyche, they begin to change. But on a deeper level, this transformation resonates in the world around them. What does this mean? It means that as we heal our own internal wounds, we start relating to others in a more authentic, compassionate, and empathetic way. When we stop projecting our fears and judgments onto others, we are able to see them more clearly, accepting their imperfections just as we accept our own. Integrating the shadow makes us more human, more connected, and more willing to listen and understand one another. This transformation process is not limited to our personal sphere. On a larger scale, it is reflected in our social behavior, our relationships, and the choices we make as a society. The more individuals who are integrated within themselves, the more the collective can experience compassion, harmony, and understanding. The divisions and conflicts that so often mark our history can be softened when we recognize that what we project onto others is, in reality, a part of ourselves. Integrating the shadow not only opens doors for personal growth, but also fosters a healthier and more harmonious coexistence among all. The shadow, a source of potential and creativity, another fundamental and perhaps most powerful aspect of the shadow is that it is not only the source of the negative traits we try to repress. The shadow also holds a vast untapped potential, creativity, and passion. Many of our greatest talents and gifts remain hidden in the depths of our psyche, waiting to be released when we face the darkest parts of ourselves. By rejecting these aspects, we are also rejecting our ability to create, innovate, and live with intensity. For example, repressed anger can be transformed into a creative force, driving us to fight for something we believe in, defend a cause, or create something that inspires others. Insecurity, when confronted, can turn into confidence and the courage to pursue our true dreams. When we integrate our shadow, we not only unlock emotional freedom, but also the power to act with more authenticity and passion in the world. Many artists, thinkers, and innovators throughout history have undergone a deep process of confronting their shadows. Their most powerful works and most groundbreaking discoveries often emerged from an internal crisis, where integrating their shadows brought forth a new vision of themselves and the world around them. It is through the shadow that the human soul has the chance to expand, generate new ideas, and manifest its true creative potential. Working with the shadow, freedom and authenticity are not achieved by seeking a life without conflict, but by developing the ability to confront the shadowy aspects of our psyche and integrate them consciously. The journey of facing the shadow is not easy. It requires courage to look inward, to recognize and accept the parts of ourselves that we prefer to hide. However, it is in this confrontation that the transformative power of individuation lies. As we bring the shadow into the light of consciousness, it loses the unconscious power it holds over us. By integrating our fears, desires, and hidden aspects, we gain the freedom to be who we truly are, without the restraints of what we were taught to fear or reject. When we allow ourselves to be authentic, without masks or defenses, we experience a deeper connection with ourselves. We are no longer living according to external expectations, but rather aligned with our truest essence. This integration process makes us stronger, more compassionate, and more connected to what truly matters. It allows us to live more fully, consciously, and in alignment with our true purpose. The journey of confronting and integrating the shadow, the key to personal growth. The journey of confronting and integrating the shadow is one of the most powerful and essential paths to personal growth. It challenges us to go beyond the illusions we create about ourselves, to clearly see both our weaknesses and our hidden strengths. And by doing so, we not only unlock our true potential, but also contribute to a more compassionate, authentic, and human world. By integrating the shadow, we are not just healing our own wounds, we are also contributing to the collective awakening. Every step taken in this process of self-discovery resonates in some way within the collective, creating a ripple effect of understanding and empathy. Working with the shadow is, therefore, not just a tool for personal growth, but also a path to transforming humanity. Thus, the journey of individuation proposed by Jung is not a destination, but an ongoing process of transformation and discovery. The key to our true life purpose often lies not in the brightest facets of our psyche, but in what we reject, hide, and fear. By integrating the shadow, we awaken to a richer, more complete life, one that is deeply aligned with our truest essence. Our true purpose, then, is not found in an external search, but in the recognition and acceptance of who we really are. And in this recognition, by facing the shadows that dwell within our soul, we discover the freedom and purpose to live with authenticity and passion.